Hello and welcome to Ready Camera One. It's your boy Josh Aponte, and today I am joined by David Anthony, who's a professional magician and hypnotist. How are you doing today, David?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we're gonna get things started. So how did you get introduced to magic?
So I got a magic kit when I was a kid, when I was 7 years old, like pretty much everyone does.
Oh yeah.
And it started out as a hobby where I do a show every couple months. And then it kind of turned into more of a business. When I was in high school, I started traveling, competing with it more. I was doing about 3-4 shows a month at that point. In college, I went on to college for business management, minor entrepreneurship, knowing that I was going to perform full time. And by that time, I was doing about 2 to 3 shows a week.
Nice. That sounds cool. Did you have anyone that like inspired you, or what was one of the biggest events that really inspired you to become a magician?
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to watch David Copperfield, who's a famous magician. He performs all the time in Vegas. He has a residency show in Vegas. But I would really study him and his movements and how he performed and all of that good stuff. You know, because it's not the trick that matters. It's the lighting, it's the music, it's the mood, it's all of that good stuff.
Oh, that sounds dope. What is one of the biggest events that like you've ever performed for?
Oh, like crowd size?
Yeah.
Crowd size, a couple thousand. It's probably about 2,500 or so. Yeah, and the bigger the better. It's a blast. On the monitors now, I think you see some of my hypnosis show going on.
Nice.
And so whether it be the casinos or theaters, sometimes those are thousands of people, and cruise ships are a lot of people as well. So it's fun. Cruise ships, yeah.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
It's It's great. My office becomes my balcony in the Bahamas, and I get to perform. So can't beat it.
Oh yeah, easily. Did you have any advice for anyone who really wants to become involved in magic or wants to become a magician?
Magician, no, just practice.
Just practice?
Yeah, but like anything you do, right? Like doing this stuff, all of you guys on camera and behind the camera and all behind the scenes, it just takes practice. The more you practice, the better you get. The better you get, the easier stuff becomes. Magic, it takes lots and lots of practice. You start small with books or learning from DVDs, and then you slowly get going with it.
Nice. What kind of did you go to a magic school, or what kind of training did you have to do?
Yeah, so when I was younger, this local magic shop used to hold lessons once a month, and so I would do that. My parents, I couldn't drive at the time, my parents would drive me, and it would be a couple hours at a time. We'd sit there, we'd learn different magic tricks, and from various things, from the stage to close-up magic with cards, and it was a blast. It was a blast. So, and that's really what helped me out performing-wise. And then I've been very fortunate to work with great directors and choreographers on my show and my stage, and that's helped me out a lot.
Nice. So speaking of choreographers and everything, who's probably the most famous person that you've ever met doing magic?
Oh gosh. Recently I was on, do you know who Caitlin Bristow is?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, she won Dancing with the Stars. She was the host of Bachelorette and Bachelor and was on it as well. So I was recently on her podcast, which was a blast. I've met Copperfield a few times.
Really?
And yeah, so multiple people, and there's probably more that I can't remember at the time, but multiple people. So it's been fun. That a hobby that I used to do as a kid in basements and for birthday parties, has turned into this.
It's into a full career.
And I do it full time. I travel across the country. When I'm on tour, it's typically about 4 or 5 states a week, so it's a lot of flights.
Oh my God.
But I love it,
Yeah.
They say if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. Well, you do, you just don't mind working. That's the difference.
Oh, okay. How hard was it for you to start getting recognized as a magician from other professionals?
From other professionals?
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, and I briefly mentioned I started competing. And magicians have these big conventions, and at these conventions, you learn magic, you meet other professionals, but also there's competitions. So I started competing when I was in high school, and I was very fortunate to do very well in them, and that kind of helped me get recognition from my peers and other magicians. And then it's from just performing, or sometimes when I'm doing a hypnosis show, another magician will be at that same theater, or or on that same bill, meaning on that same show, where they're doing the magic and I'm doing the hypnosis part. So it's kind of fun to hang out backstage, and because that's the fun part.
Oh, yeah.
Being on stage is wonderful. It really is. It's a lot of fun. But the backstage and the people you meet, like doing this stuff, how we meet. And for those of you who don't know, at home, years ago, he was at my magic camp I did.
Yes.
Maybe 10 years ago. Maybe a little bit more than that.
To this day, I still remember how to juggle, actually, from magic camp. So,
there you go.
Yeah, I can still do a couple tricks. I do remember one card trick, but that was it.
So we should switch seats, and I'll just interview you.
I'll do the magic,
yes,
and then you do
yes.
the show. There we go. What was the most difficult trick that you ever had to perform?
Ooh, that's a tough question. So a lot of what we do takes many, many years, not many, many years maybe, but many months of practice, right? So we have this idea, and then we want to, okay, how is it going to fit in the show? Yeah. And then we put it in the show, and then we look at the music, right? And it kind of all combines together. So one simple thing that to the audience looks like, oh, that shouldn't take any time at all, took lots of time. And I still record a lot of my shows for two reasons. Number one, with social media and content is everything, right? For that. So on my social media, on D. Anthony Magic on Instagram, there's videos of me hypnotizing people, of me doing magic and all that good stuff. So I video my shows for that, but I also video my shows to kind of watch back and listen to see what worked and what didn't work for the audience. And yeah, so it's a learning process. I'm always learning.
Nice. So speaking on, your favorite magic trick, or what was the hardest magic trick for you to do? I think do you have some magic tricks that you could do for us here?
I do.
You
I
do?
Yeah,
awesome. Well, we will be right back after this commercial break, and David Anthony is going to do some magic for us, so stay tuned. Welcome back, guys, to Ready Camera 1. And now David Anthony is going to do some magic for us. So.
We are. So I started doing magic when I was very young, like I said, when I got that first magic kit. And when I was 7 years old, I'd walk around the house and grab anything I could put my hands on and try to do magic with it. So I'm going to show you the first tricks I ever performed, the first trick I ever created. I went inside the cupboard and I got a paper bag. I went inside the refrigerator and got some mustard. You see, when I was 7 years old, I took that mustard, placed it inside the paper bag, weighed my hand in a circular motion like so, and then it gets better, I promise. When I was 7 years old, I took that ketchup, placed it back inside the paper bag, weighed my hand in the opposite direction, and shoot. I was 7, what do you expect? I know. See, then I got older and I started practicing a little more, and I know what you're thinking. You think the ketchup's still in there. Like I said, I got a little better. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. That's
whoa.
Thank you.
That was dope.
So that's just a taste. And then how about can we try one more thing?
Sure, yeah.
Is that cool?
Definitely. Yeah.
And in fact, you at home could try this as well. So I do magic, but I also do hypnosis. So we're going to do a little something with hypnosis. Sound good?
Okay,
all right, so everyone hold out your hands like this. Squeeze your fingers nice and tight together. Squeeze your palms nice and tight together. I want you to bend your arms like so. And I want you to stick up your fingers, your two-pointer fingers, about 2 to 3 inches apart. Remember this position. Do not forget this position. I'm going to ask you to return this position in just a moment. Go ahead, close your fingers, squeeze your palms nice and tight together, squeezing them nice and tight together. I want you to imagine I've squirted super glue on the palms of your hands, and you're squeezing that super glue nice and tight together, squeezing those palms nice and tight together. I want you to imagine that you're squeezing so much so that super glue now is oozing out of your hands, going in between your fingers. Now, if I was to ask you to remove your hands, you probably wouldn't be able to, because in your mind, your hands are super glued together. What's going to happen is I'm going to count from 1 to 3. Once I hit 3, I want you to stick up your fingers like you did before, about 2 to 3 inches apart. Except this time I want you to imagine 2 powerful magnets to the tips of your fingers. Once again, when I hit that number 3, stick up your fingers and imagine 2 magnets to the tips of your fingers. So you at home, try this as well. Here we go, 1, 2, and 3. Lift up your fingers, imagine 2 magnets, and watch as your fingers slowly come together. That's it.
That was crazy. Oh my gosh, that was dope.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show, David. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
and
guys.
thank you guys for tuning in to Ready Camera 1. I'm Josh Aponte, and we'll see you guys next time.